I think the fall of America is a lot closer than what we realize. If you study ancient Rome and what caused the collapse of ancient Rome, it's because having financial troubles inwardly and having corruption and they're spending way too much money, being very frivolous with their money, they start to say we need to have more income. And so instead of saying, hey, you know what, we're having financial trouble, we should cut back, we should lower our spending. No, they can't do that. They can't imagine that because they're the world empire, and they have to get out there and spread their democracy, so to speak. And so Rome starts to go out into other countries and they start to spread their forces very thin, leaving Rome itself very vulnerable. And then the barbaric hordes, descended from them, start coming in and attacking Rome. And Rome falls as a world power. And then they just merged they went from, political Rome to ecclesiastical Rome. And they controlled through different means then. Part weak, part strong, the fifth kingdom. But what I'm saying is, the thing that caused the fall of Rome is taking over too much other territory and spreading your forces too thin. Recently, we had this whole thing of the president of Venezuela, Maduro there, he's Nicolas Maduro, I think his name is, we're just going to take him and we're going to take him to New York and we're going to put him on trial because of drugs. Wink, wink. Yeah, because of oil. More, there's the whole thing there, the petrodollar and whatever else. You can look into that. If you saw the other video I did, used to be our dollar was backed by the dollar, and then we'll have the petrodollar, and now it's the American people's wealth that we're going to use to back the dollar. Yeah, sure, whatever. But this corrupt system here, we have to start to find other ways to keep our dollar going, the US dollar hegemony, because we have future wars that need to be done in order to set things up properly for Israel, the nation of Israel, Iran being one of the nations that has to be taken to control the trade routes going through Ukraine and Iran. That's what's going on here. Let's be real about this. And so how do you keep the dollar going? Well, you could be smart about it and actually kind of cut spending, but why bother doing that when it just works to continue printing more money and we'll just take over more countries. And then the military is going to have to be used in those countries to maintain the control of those nations. And now the military is spreading out. And hey, let's just go and take some Russian oil tankers, which happened here recently. And that's completely fine, and Russia can't do anything about it. And we'll just start to put tariffs on this country and do all these other things. And America's not going to fall? America's not going to have to pay for that? Well, that's what these sick people... Well, I'll say this way. I think some of them believe that, but I think others, they understand that it's going to fall. They're globalists. They don't care about this nation. But the American people, we have to stop supporting these politicians. We have to say, hey, enough is enough. Okay, we need to have personal repentance, judge your own self, and say, okay, am I right with God? God, please protect our nation. Please get these wicked people away from us and be ready for the collapse. Quite frankly, I'm not saying that God's going to stop the collapse, because he won't. But what I'm saying is he can preserve you through that crash, keep you safe, tell you where you should go and how to get food and how to protect your wealth and everything else from these thieves that are there trying to destroy it. But I'll show you the big problem here. I'll read from the Bible, Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 5. Thus saith the Lord, Cursed be the man that trusteth in man and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from the Lord. If that's you, that you're trusting in men, if you're trusting in the government and whatever to protect you, and your heart departed from the Lord, that's a problem. For he shall be like the heath in the desert, and shall not see when good cometh, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in a salt land and not inhabited. Blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord, and whose hope the Lord is. That better be your hope going forward. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, and that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat cometh, but her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit. All right? You won't cease from yielding fruit if God is your hope, if God is your protector. Verse 9. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? I, the Lord, search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings. God is going to be producing some fruit here coming up. It's either going to be very corrupt, evil, toxic fruit if you lived a very horrible, wicked life and gone along with the system. But if you've done right and you've said, okay, I'm getting away from that stuff, taken my advice in the past saying, and put your money into precious metals, you're doing very well right now if you did that. Again, I'm not talking about getting rich quick schemes or whatever. No, I'm saying the dollar's crashing. Put your money someplace else. Don't keep your money in the bank. Okay? If you have savings, put it into precious metals. Precious metals have gone up, back when I was buying silver, it was, $20 an ounce or something like this. It's 80. It hit 80, over $80. I don't know what it is right now. I haven't checked it this morning, but gold's done very well, more than doubled from when I was first buying. The platinum's going way up. A lot of that stuff is going way up. Even the copper penny, they can't afford to print them or make them anymore, mint them. So things are getting crazy. The dollar's crashing. But if you're putting your faith and trust in the Lord, you're going to do okay with what's coming. But I think that as we get more greedy and trying to take, make Trump's saying that he wants to spend 1.5 trillion on the military. And our assets are supposed to back that. I mean, it'd be kind of like me saying, hey, you know what? I blew up my Crown Vic police interceptor, a few months ago, blew the motor on it, and I've been trying to save up to get another one, not another Crown Vic, but another car that we can use for driving longer distances. And so I hate to tell you this, but I went out and I bought a Ferrari, okay, brand new Ferrari. You say, well, how did you do that? What was your collateral? Well, my collateral was actually my subscribers. I pledged to the bank that my subscribers, all the assets that you own personally, that will back up my desire to go and have a new Ferrari. Of course, I wouldn't do that, but that's what the government's doing. And it's not Ferraris that they're getting; it's multi-million-dollar stealth bombers and tanks and aircraft carriers and Lord knows what else. 1.5 trillion, and you're going to be the one that covers it with what you own. The shirts on your back and the food and whatever else you have. It's all just property of the government now. I thought we had a representative form of government. They're representing the corporations now. Pretty bad situation. But another verse of scripture here in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 19 and verse 15 says, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I will bring upon this city and upon all her towns all the evil that I have pronounced against it, because they have hardened their necks, that they might not hear my words." Very true of the nation of Israel. The nation of Israel rejected the Lord. Literally, God manifest in the flesh. He's here on the earth and they say, "You're not our Messiah. Crucify him, crucify him. Shall I crucify your king? We have no king but Caesar." That was a mistake. They've paid for that one. That's why God's given them a spirit of blindness. And the Jews aren't automatically saved, by the way. Okay, they need to come to salvation. They need to be broken just like any other sinner out there. They're not some special status or whatever else. God has future plans for them, and it's going to be very bad future plans. If you understand the book of Revelation, it's the time of Jacob's trouble, time of Israel's trouble. All right, God has some major things that he's going to be working out with those Jewish people. But you don't have to go through that. You don't have to go through God's judgment. All right, you can see it happening, but God can preserve you. God can bless you in judgment, the time of judgment. I have a study on that, God's blessing in judgment. All right, you can watch that one. But I think we're going to be shocked going forward just to how quickly this nation falls, because we're going the same route, exactly the same route as ancient Rome. We need money. Let's go take over other nations. Let's go spread ourselves out. Now we've taken over that nation. Now what do? Again, I gave a little analogy as explaining this to my son and my wife. We do homeschooling and things, so I explain economics and history and things I've studied, things I'm seeing, and I said it would be like what we've done in Venezuela. Let's just go and we're going to take over some place here locally. And we take over, we fight, we get the people subdued, and we have their hands tied behind their backs, and now we control their house. And you say, I'm kind of getting a little bit hungry here. What should we do? Well, should we stay here in this house that we just took, or should we go back home and cook there? Well, if we go back home and cook there, they might get out of their handcuffs or whatever, and we have to come back here and fight them again. Oh yeah, so I guess we'll have to leave some of us here at this house we just took over, and some of us get to go home to our house. And there's more of their people out that are going to be coming back. So we can't abandon this house we just took. We're going to have to hold it here and go home and try to hold our place, because they might come after our homeland and whatever. See the mess you create? Oh, and oh boy, yeah, we're having some problems here. So let's go take another house. Why would you do that? That's foolish. America is going to fall in a very big way, very badly. And if you're out there and you're saying, oh, I think that this is wonderful, some Goonie boy saw it and he put it in the comment section, oh, it's a great thing, God is doing great things or whatever. Oh yeah, okay, really? Venezuela that banned sodomite marriage, that bans transgender surgeries, and banned usury. That's not a good one to ban if you want to get along with the international global community out there. Now there's a day of reckoning, and it's coming very soon. And that's why I'm saying you better make God your hope. Better make sure that your rights come from God, not from the Constitution or something else that can just be crossed out and whatever else. So please pray. We need to pray very hard. I'm going to try to do what I can to stay around, but they bring in some new military dictatorship or something like that. I mean, we could be controlled by some other country or something, by spring. I have no idea at this point in time. Things could go downhill very quick. And as things get crazy, make sure that you're not making flesh your arm. Okay, in other words, don't trust in your own strength. No, it's not here, it's there. All right? You really need to make sure that you have a relationship with God, that you're judging your own sins, that you're putting your faith in God's words. All right? Israel fell because they hardened their necks that they might not hear my words. A lot of people, they don't think too highly of this book. And yet this book is what gave us the freedoms that we had in this nation. Even men that were deists, like Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin, even men like that, they understood that there are certain unalienable rights that come from this book right here. They are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. You have to make sure that you understand that and that you stand for God. So that's going to be it. Please take heed to my words. Thank you very much for watching.